Hi everybody, and welcome to this live webinar number 2 about building a Forex business. And your host for the evening will be me. My name is Piet Swart and I'm from Forex Income Map. So just before I get started, I just want to make sure about a few things. I hope each of you has got a nice hot cup of beverage there and have a pen and paper ready if you want to take notes there, so that may be a very good idea. So before I'm going to start off, I am just going to check if everybody can listen me or hear me. So I wanted you to just write there in the chat box if you can hear me. You can just say yes, okay, or if you can't hear anything, please just type in there no sound. Then I know there's something wrong with it. And so yes, and also I would like to know, which is very interesting to me, is where you are all from. So please, if it's not a bother, just write it in there, which country you're from. And that's very interesting to see from which side of the globe every one of you are from. And you can just write in, yes, I'm great, or yes, I'm sad, or whatever the case may. Tell me how you are. So I've got here from the USA, South Africa, England, England, USA, Texas, Namibia, California, Canada, okay, Ireland, Johannesburg. Johannesburg is a country. Poland, Virginia, USA, Bangalore, Australia. Fantastic. We've got a fantastic bunch of people here, and I can find out that we've got a nice positive vibe here. Everyone is saying I'm going fine, I'm great. I'm here from Swaziland. Fantastic, welcome. Here in KwaZulu-Natal, right here in South Africa. So fantastic. I'm really glad to have you guys here, and I'm telling you, I've got a packed webinar for you here with a lot of information and stuff that I can tell you will learn a lot today. So you will have to stick with me here and make notes if you want to make notes, but please don't worry, this session is also recorded for future references. So if you miss something, please, we're going to record it and we're going to put it up on, you'll find it, the reference there on Facebook. So yes, this is definitely recording here. So we are just need to check everything is fine from my side. So, and please remember to let us know if you need assistance anytime, please. So in that same box that you have chat there or typed in that you were fine and from which country you are, please, if you have a question during the webinar, you can post that question there, and I'm going to try my best to make sure that I get to those questions. And even at the end of the webinar, all depends on how well we're doing in the webinar, we will also have a nice question and answer session. So please don't worry. Let's start moving on to see what we can do here. So as far as the assistance is concerned, you've got our email address, everything. It was there in the beginning. So you'll find it on the blog, you'll find it on Facebook and on the website, everywhere. So I've got a very special announcement here. At the end of today's webinar, I will announce the winners of last week's competition. So I've already picked the 3 winners. And if you were not able to join, or if you did not win, no worries. There will be another competition for you to join. More details on that at the end of this webinar. So I'm going to give it at the end of this webinar for you. So yes, some good news there, and there's going to be 3 people in the webinar that's going to be very, very happy tonight. So tonight or this afternoon or this morning, all depends on where you are in the world. I'm really looking forward to share this information with you, and this to me is very important information, and I can tell you the information that I'm giving away here tonight is about 3/4 of the way I'm trading. The secrets of that I'm going to give away here. The only thing that you must do, make sure that you take this information in. Write it down if you have to. Look at this webinar again, the recorded one again afterwards, and make sure that you don't miss anything. You could miss such a small little thing, and it could be a nugget if you hear it the second time. So let's see what we can do for this webinar. I'm going to tell you about the turtle experiment. Now, most of you might have known about the turtle experiment. Most of you might never have heard about the turtle experiment. Now, the turtle experiment is very, very important for me, and there's two reasons why it's so important to me. The one reason is, I think that every trader that's worth something must know about the turtle experiment. When I first heard the turtle experiment and I started to study this turtle experiment, you know, number one, it was such an inspiration to me. Such an inspiration. It meant so much to me. And this is where the first time that the bulb went on, this light bulb, and said, listen, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And really, this is what I say. This will mean a lot to you for those that haven't heard it. Maybe for those of you that maybe heard about this story and maybe just went over it very fast and, you know, didn't really study it in a way. I studied it, and what I've did for this webinar is I've really studied it and take out all the pieces of gold out of this experiment. And I can tell you there's a lot of pieces of gold that you're going to get here from this experiment. So just stick to me, listen to this experiment, listen to what I'm telling you about the story. So that all started with a guy named Richard Dennis. Now, Richard Dennis was widely recognized in the trading world as an overwhelming success. Now, he had turned an initial stake of less than $5,000. He had less than $5,000, and he turned less than $5,000 in 1983. He turned it to more than $100 million by the time he was 37. He had more than $100 million in his account. And this all started with less than $5,000. But this story in itself is very impressive and inspirational. But it was the teaching story that was really made him the legend. And it's his teaching story. And this is what I want to share with you and see what we can get out of this. Now, his turtles is what he called them, and I'm going to tell you more about these turtles. This was cemented in Wall Street history as the biggest success ever. So, and this is what I want to tell you about. Now, it all started off with him and his partner. He had a partner called Bill Eckhart. And they had frequent discussions about the success. But Dennis believed that anyone could be taught to trade the markets, while Eckhart countered that Dennis had a special gift that allowed him to profit from trading. Now, this is the old debate, and this is something that maybe in your head also that could hold you back from your trading currently. And this is, are you a born trader or can you be made a trader? And I mean, this is a huge debate. So this is why Richard Dennis wanted to find out whether great traders are born or are they made. And this is where everything started. Now, this experiment was set up by Richard Dennis to finally settle this debate. And Dennis believed that anyone could be taught to trade the markets. Anyone. So Dennis would find a group of people to teach his rules to, and then you have them to trade his rules with real money. Dennis believed so strong in this idea that he would actually give the traders his own money to trade with. This is how strong he believed in this. Now, the trading would last for 2 weeks, and it could be repeated over and over again. And he called his student turtles. Now, where the name comes from, this is after he visited in Singapore the turtle farms, and he decided that he wanted to grow traders as quickly and efficient as the farm could grow turtles. So this is where he got to the name called turtles. And since Richard was probably the most famous trader in the world at that time, he received submissions from over 1,000 applicants. Of these, he interviewed only 80. And now this group was culled down to 10, and which later came to 13 after Richard added 3 people he already knew to the list. Well, and they were all invited to Chicago, and they traded there for 2 weeks. at the end of December. And in 1983, that was in December 1983, and then he began trading small accounts at the beginning of January. And after they proved themselves, that's when Dennis started to fund them. Now Dennis funded most of them with $500,000 to $2 million accounts at the start of February. Now, I want you to listen to this whole story. Listen to the dates. Listen to the times that I'm mentioning here. I mean, I'm talking about 2 weeks training here, and then in January, he left him to trade according to his rules, and in February, he funded all these turtles, these 13 turtles, with amounts that varies from $500,000 to $2 million account. And that happened at the start of February. So this is very important to know this. Now, after the training, this is what Dennis said. Dennis said after the training that trading was even more teachable than I imagined, he says. In a strange sort of way, it was almost humbling. And this is what he said to the Wall Street Journal. Now, this is when he started believing, and I think Eckhart's mind also changed there, because then he started seeing that you could teach a good trader. Now, the big question here at the end was, did it work? Now, according to the former turtle, Russell Sands, as a group, the two classes of turtles, which was personally trained by Dennis, now listen here, they earned more than $175 million in only 5 years' time. They earned an average annual compound rate of return of 80%. That's in a year. Richard Dennis had proved beyond a doubt that beginners can learn to trade successfully. But he further proved that with a simple set of rules, he could take people with little or no trading experience and make them excellent traders. Russell Sands, one of the certain traders, he contends that the system still works well, and he said that if you start with $10,000 now at the beginning of the year and you follow the original turtle rules, you would have ended the year with $25,000. That's how strong he still believes in that set of rules that they got as the turtles. Now this was something that I thought I would like to study this. I would like to see what was it that made the turtles so successful? What was the failures in the turtle story? Because this is the other one. The other reason why I like the story. There was a lot of success stories, but there was also a lot of failure stories in this. And then I can ask myself, but how on earth, with the same bunch of people who had the same training, who worked with the same guy in the same office, had the same rules, how on earth could some of them make a success and the others was unsuccessful? Now, since the turtles went out on their own in 1988, because this is when Richard Dennis closed down the most famous money-making school in Wall Street history, the performance numbers showed the undisputed top turtles. So when they closed down in 1988, and I don't know what the reason is why Dennis decided to close down the turtles. There must be one or the other reason, and I'm sure it must be a good reason. But this was the top performance, the top 6 guys. I've listed them on here. It was Jerry Parker, Paul Rabar, Liz Cheval, Howard Seidler, Tom Shanks, and Dim DiMaria. This was the top 6 turtles. Now all these guys, I must tell you, were all kind of ranged from young guys to more middle, I suppose in the early 30s, somewhere around there. And there was ladies also among them, but it was in total 13, and this was the 6 top ones. Okay, now the story goes on. Now these 6 turtles are the ones with the continuous track records back to 1984 and 85. From a trading perspective, their performance history show that they are the turtle winners. Now one of those 6 told me that the most successful turtle in terms of performance since 1988 has been Jiri Svoboda. I'm not sure if I pronounced that name right. Jiri Svoboda. But Svoboda has no public fund to track and remains totally invisible. They could not find this person, either by way of seeing if he or she's got a trading account or whatever the case may be. Now, I've got one guy here that says to me, I actually got brave enough to contact Russell Sands and had dinner with him in Florida several years ago. I was amazed. He drove up in a Honda. He said to me that the system only worked really well during strong trends, which we know that 1982 to 2000 was. But I'm glad that he's writing this story here. So that's amazing to have somebody here that says he had dinner with Russell Sands. What a privileged guy. I would love to have dinner with him and just ask him a lot of stuff. But what he said to you there about the trends is true. So this is going to come out in the story as we go on.